When we talk about video games that changed the world, few can claim the impact of Super Mario Bros. For the NES. Released in 1985, this iconic platformer didn't just revolutionize gaming, it saved an entire industry. The game was developed by the legendary Shigeru Miyamoto and Takashi Tezuka at Nintendo, and its release heralded a new era in home video gaming. In the early 1980s, the video game industry was in a major slump. The market was flooded with low-quality games, and consumer confidence was at an all-time low, leading to what is known as the video game crash of 1983. However, Nintendo, a company that had already seen success with arcade hits like Donkey Kong and Mario Bros., was developing a home console that would reignite the passion for gaming, the Nintendo Entertainment System. At the heart of the NES launch was Super Mario Bros., the brainchild of Shigeru Miyamoto, who had already gained recognition for his work on Donkey Kong and The Legend of Zelda. Miyamoto's vision was to create a game that combined the excitement of arcade gameplay with an expansive, immersive world, one that would give players the thrill of exploration and discovery. The development team faced the challenge of creating a game that would push the technical boundaries of the NES, yet remain accessible and fun. The design decisions they made, from the side-scrolling format to the introduction of power-ups and hidden secrets, would go on to set the standard for platformers and video games in general. The story is simple, yet timeless. Players take control of Mario, a plumber from Brooklyn, who must rescue Princess Toadstool, Peach, from the evil King Bowser. Bowser has taken control of the Mushroom Kingdom, turning its citizens into bricks, plants, and other objects while kidnapping the princess. Mario's journey spans 8 worlds, each consisting of 4 levels, where he must face Bowser's minions and overcome various obstacles to reach the final castle and defeat Bowser, rescuing the princess. While the plot is straightforward, it provided the perfect backdrop for a game focused on fun and innovation, with the story of good triumphing over evil serving as a classic motivator for players. The gameplay is what truly set it apart from other games of the era. It introduced players to a new kind of platformer, one that was fast, fluid, and filled with surprises. At a time when most video games took place on a single static screen, Super Mario Bros. Brought a seamless, side-scrolling world. As Mario runs from left to right, the environment scrolls with him, creating a sense of forward progression. This was a revolutionary concept that gave players the feeling of exploring a vast, interconnected world. Mario's signature ability is his jump, which is used to stomp on enemies and traverse the environment. But it was the introduction of power-ups that truly changed the game. The Super Mushroom allows Mario to grow larger, giving him the ability to take an extra hit. The Fire Flower grants Mario the power to shoot fireballs, turning him into a more formidable opponent against enemies. And the Starman gives Mario temporary invincibility, letting him charge through enemies without fear of damage. These power-ups created a dynamic sense of progression, allowing players to feel stronger and more capable as they moved through the levels. The game is filled with a wide variety of enemies, each with its own distinct behavior. Goombas, Koopa Troopas, Piranha Plants, and Lakitus are just a few of the memorable foes that players must deal with throughout the game. Each enemy provides a different challenge, and learning their patterns is key to success. The final level of each world ends with a confrontation against Bowser, or a fake Bowser in the earlier worlds. These encounters add a layer of excitement and challenge as players dodge fireballs and time their jumps to defeat the monstrous Turtle King. The level design is often hailed as a masterclass in video game design. The first level, World 1-1, is particularly famous for how it teaches players the mechanics of the game without the need for tutorials. The placement of the first Goomba, the hidden blocks, and the Super Mushroom all work together to show players the basics of running, jumping, and collecting power-ups. As the game progresses, the levels become more complex, introducing new obstacles such as moving platforms, pits, and even underwater sections. By the time players reach the later worlds, they are facing some of the toughest platforming challenges ever seen in a video game at the time. One of the aspects that set this game apart from its contemporaries was the inclusion of hidden secrets. From invisible blocks to pipes that transport players to bonus coin rooms, the game encouraged exploration and rewarded curious players with extra lives and power-ups. Perhaps the most famous secrets are the warp zones, hidden areas that allow players to skip entire worlds and jump ahead in the game. Discovering these zones gave players an exciting sense of accomplishment and helped foster a sense of community, as friends would share tips and secrets about how to find them. While primarily a single-player game, Super Mario Bros. Also included a two-player mode where the second player takes control of Luigi, Mario's younger brother. The two players would take turns playing through the levels, with Luigi entering the game once Mario loses a life. This competitive and cooperative multiplayer mode added to the game's replayability. Though Mario had appeared in earlier games like Donkey Kong and Mario Brothers, it was Super Mario Bros. That transformed him into one of the most recognizable video game characters of all time. The game's success launched Mario into the mainstream, and he has since appeared in countless games, spin-offs, and even TV shows and movies. The development team had to work within the constraints of the NES hardware, which had limited memory and processing power. For example, clouds and bushes in the game use the same sprite, just colored differently to save memory. Despite these limitations, the game still feels vast and detailed, showcasing the developers' creativity in overcoming technical challenges. The game's soundtrack, composed by Koji Kondo, is one of the most iconic in gaming history. The upbeat, cheerful overworld theme is instantly recognizable to players around the world, and each of the game's musical tracks perfectly complements the gameplay. Kondo's ability to create memorable, catchy tunes with the limited sound capabilities of the NES is a testament to his talent. The very first level of the game is often studied by game designers as a perfect example of teaching players mechanics without the need for instructions. Every element of the level is carefully placed to help players understand how to play the game, whether it's the Goomba that introduces danger, the Super Mushroom that teaches players about power-ups, or the pipes that encourage exploration. One of the most famous glitches in the game is the Minus World, a bizarre underwater level that players can access through a specific bug in the game's coding. It's an endless loop, and there's no way to complete it, but discovering the Minus World became a badge of honor for players in the early days of gaming. The game has sold over 40 million copies worldwide, making it one of the best-selling video games of all time. Its massive success contributed to the revival of the video game industry and solidified Nintendo's dominance in the market for years to come. Super Mario Bros. For the NES is more than just a video game. It's a cultural touchstone. From its tight controls and innovative level design to its iconic music and unforgettable characters, the game set the standard for what a platformer could be and laid the groundwork for the future of the entire gaming industry. Its success helped resurrect a struggling industry and establish Nintendo as a global leader in video games. For millions of gamers, this game represents their first taste of the magic that video games can bring, a magic that continues to this day, as Mario remains one of the most beloved characters in gaming history. Whether you're a seasoned gamer who grew up with Mario or a newcomer exploring the classics, Super Mario Bros. Is an essential piece of gaming history that has stood the test of time. It's a game that will continue to inspire players and developers for generations to come.